right. What's up, everybody? We'll get this party started here. No, that didn't work. Okay. Welcome to my Deals calls. Today's the 22nd of July, and we're going to be talking about your deals that you've submitted. We're going to review them, and I'm going to tell you what I would offer and what I wouldn't offer and why and all of that good stuff. Also, I've got two quick announcements right now for you. Number one, coming up in about a month, we're doing our second Do Deals workshop. This is a live workshop we're doing in St. Louis. It's called the Do Deals workshop. It's 2 days. I'm doing it with myself, Brent Bowers from Land Sharks, and Ray Jong. And in this workshop, day one, we're going to teach what we're doing now today, what's working today. We're going to show you how we're doing deals. We're going to show you the deals we're doing. Day number two is the do part. We're actually going to do what we teach. So you're going to watch us actually talk to sellers, make offers live, and then we're going to give you leads, and you're going to make offers on real motivated, well, I don't know if they're motivated or not, real seller leads, and you're going to make offers. So the goal is to teach and do. This workshop is a lot of fun. It's something that we spend a lot of time on figuring out, like, what's the best way to learn? What's the best way to actually implement what we learn? Well, let's not wait until the hopes that you're going to learn something cool and hope that you implement it when you get home. Let's actually implement it right now while you're there. And that's what we're going to do. So if you're interested in this, go to dodealsworkshop.com, dodealsworkshop.com. It's August 26th, 27th. It's a Monday, Tuesday. We only have room for like 50 people. Last time we did this, we sold it out. So we're going to sell this out again. It's going to be at Busch Stadium. So we're going to hang out at a conference room in the stadium itself. And then that evening, we got a private suite. We're going to go watch a Cardinals game. I think they're playing the Padres. Tickets for the game is extra. But we have our own private suite. We have all you can eat food and drinks, whatever you want to drink. And it's going to be a blast. We're going to actually do deals. Last workshop, we did about 3 deals, actually. Some deals closed. We got some deals under contract. Ray, I just interviewed him today on my podcast. He got 10 deals under contract from the direct mail that he did on that day. So it's going to be fun. We're going to be teaching you what we do and how we do it. And thank you, Eva. She put up the actual link right here, dodealsworkshop.com. Okay. We got another announcement real quick. I just started doing what I'm calling weekly master classes. And I interviewed my audience and I said, hey, what are some challenges that you're having in this business? And I actually am super excited about this. I'm going to show you what I have here. And it is a, let's see here, challenges. No, it's called Masterclass. No, what was it called? Let me share my screen here so you can see what I'm looking at. If we go into our Facebook group, in the Inner Circle Facebook group, cool, under Featured, I asked you guys for some feedback. What do you want help with the most? Okay. And on this survey, by the way, if you've not filled this out yet, will you do that for me right now? I'm going to send you guys a link. I got 132 responses. Manage form, go to live form. Here we go. Manage form, edit form, send. Wow, this is so big. Shorten URL. Here we go. So I'm going to put this link right now in the Zoom chat. Okay. Everyone, survey. I put that link in the Zoom chat. What I did is, so you know, I actually uploaded a list of the last 1,000 questions that I've answered on my group coaching calls on Thursdays. And I asked ChatGPT, hey, tell me what are the most common problems that people keep on asking about that need the most help with. I'm not a big AI fan, right? But this was amazing what it told me. And I click here to responses. And look at this. I'll zoom in a little bit. What are some of the biggest challenges that you have in your house or your land flipping wholesaling business? The top 4, consider, ask everybody, pick your top 4. And number 1 was pricing and offers. How do you determine offers, prices? How do you use comps? How do you handle situations where maybe a property it's kind of hard to comp? That was number 1. So we did our first masterclass last Wednesday where I taught this thing. So here's my point. Every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central, I'm going to be doing a live class answering these top challenges. I'm going to be diving deep. I'm calling it a masterclass. I got nothing to sell in there. I'm going to be diving deep into this, answering these problems. So that was number 1. And we talked a little bit about that last week. I do a lot of that here on these Monday calls. Number 2, which we'll be doing this week on Wednesday, is deal analysis and due diligence. Help analyzing specific deals, determining if a property is worth pursuing, etc. The third thing was, there's a tie. There's 2 third things. This one was marketing and mailing, direct mail campaigns, letter versus postcard, mailing frequency, how do you select a list, blind offers, neutral letters. So we're going to be talking about that. And then also funding, how to fund your deals, how do you work with private lenders, manage your cash flow, especially for those just starting out. Cool. And so now so that's 4th. Now we're going to do 5. So every week I'm going to be tackling a new one. And the 5th thing is market selection. How do you choose the best counties and markets to target? What criteria do you use? How do you analyze the markets? So every week, again, I'm going to tackle each of these things. I'm going to be diving deep into how do you handle this stuff? Okay. Anybody excited about that? Anybody interested in diving deeper into those things? I cover all of them in my course, but I just thought, what if I went live every week, tackled one challenge that you guys are having, no agenda other than to help, and just really kind of answer any questions, any new questions that are coming in about all of that. That would be super cool, wouldn't it? Cool. And Bob's going to be there. What's up, Bob? I'll be in St. Louis for the Due Deals Workshop. Bam. Awesome. Love it. Okay. Is that it? So if you've already done that survey and you want to join me on those classes, I have a link to give to you to register. Here it is. You ready? Dun, 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 dun. So these are all going to, oh my gosh, hold on here. These are all going to be on Zoom. There we go. All right, so in the Zoom right now, I'm going to put in the chat the Wednesday classes. Okay. In the Zoom, now if you're watching this on YouTube right now, comment down below and I'll send you a link to that survey and to the Zoom classes. They're free. They're going to be on Zoom. You need to register. So just comment down below this video on YouTube and I will send you the links for all of that. Right? Cool. Let's look at some deals. The first deal that came in was from, we got 3 of them. Colin. Oh, what's up, Colin? Colin's in the house. Now, knowing Colin, he probably gave me a hard one, a challenging one. Thank you, Colin. This is a property in California. Don't know the zip code. Don't know the GPS coordinates. I don't know the county. So you got to help me out a little bit, Colin. I need to know the county. But I kind of have an address here. Let's see if this works. And I'll share my screen here. So this is a property in Santa Monica. Are you sure this is a vacant lot? Doesn't look like a vacant lot to me, bro. Maybe you want help with making an offer on this? You say it's 19.6 acres. Colin, man, are you here, Colin? Let me all right, I'm going to Vox you right now, Colin. Dang it, hold on here. Hey, Colin, how you doing? I'm looking at your deal right now, but you didn't send me the county that it's in or the GPS coordinates. You gave me an address, but it's some kind of apartment building in Santa Monica. So help me out here. Give me the county, the zip code. I'm sorry, the address or the GPS coordinates, okay? Now he did give me a parcel ID, but I don't know which county it's in. So it's 19.66 acres. He has a signed contract. He attached the contract, so maybe I can look at the contract here. And it's really small. I can't even read it. Oh, you're killing me, Colin. I can't read this thing. Oh, bummer. Okay. Colin, help me out. Again, those of you that are part of my inner circle, if you want me to review a deal, you have to fill out the information in the form like it asks. I need to know the county. I need to know the GPS coordinates. And if you can't send that, I can't look at your deals. All right. Thank you, Lucondo. You sent me the county. Thank you. And the GPS coordinates. Thank you. All right. This is a property in Texas, Montgomery County, Texas. Let's see what we've got here. Share my screen. All right. Let's zoom out. Where is this bad boy? All right, northwest of Houston. Now there's a lake, creek. Is it a wetlands? I don't know. Are there any wetlands in Texas? I don't think so. I bet you it's fine. Let's look at 3D. There's not, I mean, Texas is pretty flat, but you never know. Cool. All right. Let's, we don't have an address for those GPS coordinates. I like to use this tool called Land ID, id.land. Let's create a map. Texas, go. Colin, I was looking at your land deal live on the coaching call, and so I'm kind of stuck. I can't do anything. And there's millions and millions of people here waiting for you to respond to my Voxer. Okay, let's search here by latitude, longitude. Paste, cut, negative, paste, go. Ah, this is a big old lot. Big old lot. And it's not, there's there's 105 acres. All right, but Locondo, you tell me it's only 2.29 acres. 2.29 acres. Ah, man, I don't know. Let's look, maybe here's an APN number. Montgomery town. Let's look at it by APN number maybe, huh? Montgomery County. Let's paste the APN number in there and click go. Ah, so it's that one. So the GPS coordinates are a little different. It's all right. First thing I'm looking at is what? Road access. Does it have road access? I think it does. It looks like a road right there. It's called Kentucky Derby. You think there's utilities there? Yeah, there's homes being built all around. By the way, when I'm talking to the seller, I'm asking them about these utility lines. That could be a concern. Being so close, I don't know, maybe not. Okay, sometimes you can see in here, this is Texas, it's a non-disclosure state, but sometimes you can see some history. It was last sold in 2014 for $28,750, which for a non-disclosure state, why is that there? I don't know. There was a 5-year mortgage on it for $23,000. It's probably been paid off. $903 a year in taxes. The owner lives in Houston, Texas, so probably an hour away. Juan de Leon. That's a cool name. All right, so what's this property worth? By the way, this is the parcel right here, right? I'm going to copy the GPS coordinates, and fix them here in the deal submission form. Huh. Cool. Okay. 2.29 acres. 2.29 acres. One of the first things I like to do from here is look to see if it's in a wetland or not. So I'm going to go to overlays. And let's look at FEMA floodplain. A little bit. Interesting, isn't it? Why is that? Because of this creek that goes through here. But not too worried about it because obviously this isn't all wetland. And there's still homes and there's still structures built in this area, even though it's kind of covered with a wetland, FEMA floodplain. And then let's look over down here. We click wetlands a little bit. But for this particular property right here, I'm not too worried about it. This just means for me, if I wanted to build something on this or sell it to a buyer who was going to build something on it, it's not a big deal. All right, now that I've got those GPS coordinates a little better, let's take a look at it here on Google Maps. Slides me down a little bit. And let's drag the yellow dude to see if there's any street views in this area. Ah, look, there's a street view right there. This is the property right there. Looks like it's got some kind of gate. This is what the neighborhood looks like. Pretty nice, huh? Okay. I like it. Again, I'm going to drag that guy right there. I like the fact that there's kind of a road cut in there. That's pretty cool. Let's look again at the satellite view. Zoom in. One of the things I don't like about Google Maps sometimes is it kind of screws things up when they give 3D dimensions to the trees. I wish it wouldn't do that. Just give me a satellite view without the 3D dimensions on the trees. So sometimes here with Land ID, let's turn the overlays off. And let's go base map. Explorer is one base map. Satellite is another one. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Infrared. Modern USGS aerial. Google. Vintage. Okay. Sometimes Bing Maps, believe it or not, Bing Maps. Sometimes Bing Maps has better satellite images. Satellite. And sometimes it has street side. And I guess because it's blue, put your guy there. How does that work? There you go. Ah, look at this. It's a little different than Google Street View maps, isn't it? Let's zoom in this way a little bit. It's usually, Bing Maps does not have as big of a coverage as Google Street View does. But sometimes you get different perspectives. And this is usually done on the bigger cities. Okay, cool. So something's going on in there, but and it's deep woods. There is nothing. Nothing going on there much. All right. Land ID. Let's make this guy an offer. Now, we need an address for this property. And there isn't one. But so what I like to do is I click on the neighbor's property that has a house on it. And we'll get the address for that property. And it's not giving me one right there. How about this property? There, now I have an address. 11988 Kentucky Derby. Let me copy that. Let's go to Redfin. Put that address right there. Cool thing about sometimes with Redfin is you can go around and see the street view from the neighbors, you know. See your property. Also, by the way, from Street View, you can click on flood and sometimes get flood information from there. Okay. Let's click on the map. Let's click on nearby homes for sale. You guys still with me? Type in any questions in the chat if you have questions. Laura says, yes, it's nice country. Right by the woodlands and close north to Houston. I agree. Now here in Redfin, our property is about in the center of this map. I'm going to click on solds the last year. Home type, land. Done. And let's zoom out. Now we have 8 properties. Our property was 2.29 acres. I like to write that down. 2.29 acres. Let's create some land filters. Lot size minimum 1 acre, maximum, let's do max 5 acres. All right. Let's zoom out. We have 7 comps right there. Let's zoom out one more time. All right, we got a lot more, don't we? Let's sort price high to low. We've got some real expensive ones there. Yeah, you know what? Normally I remove the real expensive ones, but I'm keen to just keeping them in here. What's up? Brent Bowers is in the house. Looks like some nice land. It is, Brent. How you doing, man? Aaron, if your screen is tiny, I don't know what to tell you, but everybody else can see it, and you need to... Eva says I can see it just fine. Maybe make bigger full screen. I'm not sure. Okay. Back to Redfin. Thank you. So let's sort it low to high. Let's take a look at what we've got. Now this 2 acres sold for $27,000. That was the last. No, okay. I got to say this too. When it comes to Texas, it's a non-disclosure state, so you can't get the sold price. It looks like Redfin is telling me it did sell for, but if you click it, it's the last listed at $27,500. So this property was listed for $27,500. If you click here on sale and tax history, it's not going to give you the actual sold amount, but it'll give you what it was last listed for, which is going to get you ballpark. It's going to get you close. So this is 1.15 that's sold for 69, about 1.5 that's sold for 155. So it's not last sold price, but it's last list price, just so you are aware of that, okay? Now, I have here a spreadsheet I like to use when I'm making offers. It's in the course. It's a real simple spreadsheet. It's called Simple Land Offer Sheet. And if you are watching this and you want this spreadsheet, just type something in the comments and we will send it to you. Okay, so the way I like to make offers is kind of something based on actives and sold comps, all right? Based on active comps, it might be worth this. Based on sold comps, a price per acre, it might be worth this. Come up with a number. And then I'm going to figure out, okay, what am I going to sell this property for? And I subtract all my numbers to come up with an offer. And I usually never offer more than 50% of what the property's worth. So looking at Redfin here, looking at sold comps, we got 26. There is this tool I use called the Pebble Scraper tool. And I know you can't see it, but it's a Chrome extension called Pebble. You can get it if you have Google Chrome, and it'll scrape everything on the right and give you the average and the median price per acres. So I'm going to bring them all in and I'll show you kind of what it looks like here. I'm going to remove some of the big outliers, the real cheap ones and the real expensive ones. Okay, so we basically have the average price per acre is $144,137 for solds. And our property is 2.29 acres. So based on solds, the average price per acre is $144,000. Based on solds, it's worth maybe $330, maybe. Let's take a look at actives now. So I'm going to switch from solds to for sale, and I'm going to include pendings. That's real important you get pendings in there. And we're sorting this from low to high. So here's, I'm looking at this because I want to make sure when I'm listing my property, it's going to be the cheapest property on the market, right? So why would I want to sell mine for $250,000 when this one's available right now for $175,000? And this one, if we look at it, has been on the market for almost a year. So I want to make sure I'm definitely cheaper than this one. And this looks like a good property. It's got good pictures. Why hasn't this sold yet? It hasn't sold yet because it's overpriced. Okay. So going back here, let's do that Pebble Scraper thing again. It's going to scrape everything. Okay, cool. And I'm going to do a screenshot of this to show you what I'm looking at so you can see it as well. And that Pebble Scraper is free. All right, this is what I'm seeing here. You see that pop-up? When I click on the Pebble Chrome extension, it tells me the median price per acre and the average price per acre. I just use the cheapest one here. So $140,869. $140,869. So based on active comps, and I discount the active comps 15%, it might be worth $274,000. Based on sold comps, it might be worth $330,000. So I've got two numbers here. What am I going to list and sell it for? The cheaper one. $274 maybe. Yes, they're being recorded, Stephen. All these sessions are recorded. Yes. All right, so going back to this, what should I sell it for? Maybe, maybe I'll list it for $274. But this is the big but. Let's look at why would somebody want to pay me $274,000 for my 2.29 acres when they can buy this one for $175,000? That's a problem, isn't it? Yeah. And it's not that far away. It's not that much farther away. So I got to make sure mine, even though it's 0.2 acres, 0.3 acres bigger, it's like, yeah, man, you know what? Why hasn't this thing sold yet? It's got a road. It's got a gate, just like mine does. Is it really that much different? There's the Kentucky Derby Road. There's this property. Right now, that's probably, as the crow flies, a mile away or less. It's not that far. So I'm looking at this thinking, all right, this is really important to understand. You want to price your properties so that when somebody's looking for vacant land in this area, yours is the cheapest, and you're going to sell it as quick as possible. So I'm looking at this thinking, you know what, man? This thing's been on the market almost a year, and it hasn't sold yet. If I look at sold, so I'm thinking right now, actually, I need to make sure. Let's look at actives again here. I'm thinking I might list mine for 155. Let's just put that here, 155. And Brent, if you're still here, I would be curious to know, if you're still watching this, what you would list that for. Because, yeah, you know, let's look at solds again one more time in the past 6 months. Let's look at 6 months. That sold for, 69. This sold for 210. Let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah. I just want to make sure my properties are the cheapest. This sold for about, let me get my calculator here, 249,900. 249,900 divided by 1.5 acres. It sold for about 166,000 an acre. I feel pretty decent. Okay, just based on, this is one of those areas where it's not a science, it's not an exact science. I'm just looking at the current active listings. I want to make sure mine's cheaper than anything out there. So I'm going to list mine for 155. All right, some of you are asking and saying, hey, my screen is tiny. I'm not, I don't know why is some of this so small for some people? Eva, do you have any idea?
Not sure, Joe, but I think Laura suggested something that we can, like.
Oh, somebody just told me that's better. I think what I did is I just spotlighted my video for everybody. So I apologize if you're having a hard time seeing this. And I think I just made it better. Yeah, so you know what? Because I am broadcasting this on YouTube real quick. Let me just check on the YouTubes. That's working. It's looking good on YouTube. So I'm not sure. I apologize for problems you guys might have been having. But back to this lot, okay? I'm trying to remove the comments. There we go. I want to price it aggressively so I sell it quickly. I'm going to list it for 155. On the more expensive premium properties, I want to make at least $15,000 profit. I'm going to pay a realtor 6% commissions on this. I'm going to borrow some private money on it. I might pay a private investor $5,000. I'm going to have an oops factor. You know what? I'm going to pay a private investor 2% on this money. 2%. Let me think about this here for a second. Closing costs, I don't know, let's do $2,000. Photos, I'm going to have oops factor 2%. Now, subtracting my money here, this is where it gets a little tricky on these more premium properties, okay? Normal general rule of thumb is you never want to offer more than 50%. Now, if I list it for $155,000, I make $15,000 in a wholesale fee. I pay a realtor 6%. I subtract what I'm paying a private investor for. I have a $3,000 oops factor, photos and closing costs. I come up to $120,000. That's 77% of what I can list it for. But 50% is usually too low for a property that's over $100,000. So I will do 60%. Very rarely, if ever, will I do 70%. And 70% maybe if it's a $300,000 property. But for vacant land, I never offer more than 60% if it's a more expensive property. And for me, more expensive would be anything over $100,000. General rule of thumb. So I would offer $93,000. I might go to $100,000. All right. That's what I would do. Now, looking at the comments here from Lucando, he hasn't offered a purchase price yet. He thinks you could sell it for $250,000. I mean, maybe you could. But you got to ask yourself the question, why would somebody want to pay me $250,000 for my property when they can buy this one for a lot cheaper? And these properties, however many the lots there are, and this one, which has a lake. So put yourself in the mind of the buyers. This is also one of those deals where you want to think about, okay, you might, because it's a higher price property, it might be worth calling some realtors in the area and asking them what price do they think you could sell it quickly for. How do you find the realtors? Just look in the last year, all of the vacant land that is sold in the area, and call them. There's the listing agent and the buyer's agents. Ask them what they think you could sell it for. Okay, cool. I hope that was helpful. It's not a science. It's not an exact science. It's more like an art. You have to figure out, okay, put yourself in the mind of the buyers, and you got to be conservative with your prices. You know, if you think you could sell it for $200 to $250, go with the lower number. Look at what your competition is, what's going on, and how long have those properties been on the market? What price would you have to price it for, so that anybody who's looking for land in the area is going to drop what they're doing and make an offer on your property. You don't want to try to get the highest price possible. You want to sell it as fast as possible. So I know if I priced it at $155, I will feel pretty good about selling it quickly. And this is also one of those too, when you're talking to that seller, you're asking them a lot of questions about what do they think it's worth? Do they think that's a fair price for this crazy market? Why do they even want to sell it? Why did they buy it? If they want full price, they should list it with a realtor. I am not a retail buyer, but if you want the easy button, I'll pay you cash. I'll close in 30 days, and I'll pay you $93,000 to maybe $100,000. I'll close in 30 days. Now, does that mean I'm actually going to buy it in 30 days? No. That means as soon as I get it under contract, I'm going to make a bunch of phone calls and see if I can actually even sell this thing for $155,000. I'm going to talk to some realtors. I'm going to talk to some home builders. I'm going to talk to other investors that are buying land out there. I'm going to talk to other investors that are flipping land out there. And I'm going to be talking to my private funders, my private investors and my land funding companies, okay? I'm going to submit this deal to get funding. If you're a member of the Inner Circle, you give a list of all of our private lenders in there, where I want to know, would you lend money on this deal? If you bring this to funding companies or even to me, and we say, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to fund that deal, may not be a good deal. You probably don't want to buy it. So you just go back to the seller and you cancel the contract or you renegotiate a new price. And that's one of the things when you're looking at land here, this is important to understand. Like sometimes you just got to get it under contract at the best price that you can, as cheap as you can. Get it under contract and then start doing some due diligence and figure out if you have a good deal or not. You may not know. You got to let the market tell you what they think the property is worth. And then you go back to the seller and negotiate a new price or cancel the contract. Cool. Let's see if Colin has responded to me yet. Nope. Come on, Colin. All right, here's a deal from David. David, you didn't give me any counties. What's going on, David? Why didn't you give me a county? County and state where the property is located. I want everybody right now who's watching me on YouTube and Zoom and Facebook, type the word county. County. Type the word county in the comments. I don't have much hair left to pull out. Okay? Thank you, Rick, John, Michael, Bob, Joe and Rich, Gregory. Yes. County. Give me the county. I'll try to find this. Let me look it up here. Okay. So I think I know where this is. Let me pull it up here and I'll show it to everybody. It's 2.23 acres. This is in an area of Branson, I think. No, Table Rock. Yeah, Branson. Real close to Silver Dollar City. Beautiful place. It's a beautiful lake. Very family friendly. And this is an area where there's a lot of subdivisions and a lot of Airbnbs. Short-term rentals. And how do you know? Because look, these are all short-term rentals right here. And if you were to drag the street view in here, I bet you a glass of iced tea that these homes do not have garages. Okay, how do you know that, Joe? Well, let's look. Oh, see? Insert foot into mouth. I was wrong. These are residences. Normally in this area, these properties don't have garages. They're just where for short-term rentals where people will rent. But those are normal, regular duplexes. Okay, never mind. I was wrong. What is this up here? So this must be, again, I'm just guessing, this is probably where more of the people who live in Branson live. This isn't the short-term rentals. Yeah, these are where the locals live. Okay, that's a big deal. It makes that kind of, since I know the area, I at least I thought I did. This kind of tells you a little bit about what's going on out here. And some of these areas have real strict short-term rental rules, and some of them don't. Some of them don't care. So let's look this property up in Land ID. I'm going to do the latitude, longitude search. Cut. Negative paste. Zoom in. All right, 2.23 acres. This is not rural recreation land because it's so close to residences. So it's not something that people are going to go camping or hunting. This is going to be maybe a developer or a home builder that's going to build this, or maybe one of the neighbors. I'm curious to know how flat it is because this area is pretty crazy in terms of a lot of rolling hills. So what percent of this property is actually buildable? I don't know. That actually doesn't look that bad. Okay. By the way, back here, are there Google Street Views in that area? Let's look to see. Right there. So I'm going to go to that corner. So the property is up here. So it's right up there in this area. This picture was taken in 2007, if you can see on the bottom there. So, look, I can't go to the left. I can go to the right a little bit. This kind of vacant land is going to be much more premium, much more expensive, because it's so close to this resort area. It's close to the lake. Somebody who buys this again is going to be a developer. It's going to be more. You're going to have a smaller pool of buyers. What is this thing right there? Oops. It looks like some kind of crane, doesn't it? Let's look at land ID. Let's do different overlays, base maps. Well, okay. Ozark Landing LLC owns this. They bought it in 2004. The assessed property value is $2,250. Obviously, it's worth more than that. They say the land value is about $11,845. Okay. I don't have an address for this property. Let's get an address of the neighbors. Let's click on Joshua here. I'm going to copy that address. Let's go to the Redfin. So another non-disclosure state. I see how you are. I see how you are. Let's click nearby homes for sale. So our property is right here, right? I'm going to put it in the center of the map. Well, this is interesting. Look how many properties are for sale right now in this area. This is unusual to see this many for sales, isn't it? What's going on out here? This is really interesting because, again, I'm doing this all day, all the time, every day. And normally when I zoom out like this, I don't see this many for sales. Do you know what I'm saying? These are duplexes, condos, townhomes, 230,000, 200, 225. Interesting, huh? Let's look at tables. Sometimes you can see days on market here. Yeah, look at the days on market. Things aren't selling right now. What does that tell you? Things are slowing down. Right. And for Branson, like, this is the cheaper, kind of more affordable housing. Although this isn't like super nice, but like, So this, yeah, kind of fascinating to me. I'm going to be a little bit more conservative in my offer. We're looking at all of this, houses, townhomes, condos, everything. I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. Oh my gosh. There's a lot of property for sale here. Look how long the days on market are. I guarantee you would have looked at this a year ago and you'd see half, 25% of this. All right. The other thing it could just mean there's a smaller appetite for these condos and townhomes. I mean, these used to sell, but they're not selling really anymore. That's understandable, right? All right, but we're looking at land. So let's look at solds in the last 6 months. 6 months. Okay, that's good. That's a good sign too. We're seeing solds here. Done, and let's do home type land. Nothing. And that's simple because there's just not a lot of vacant land here. This is a lot of land that's already been kind of developed. Zoom out some more, and I got 6 properties. I'm going to do minimum lot size, an acre. That eliminates almost everything, doesn't it? Half acre. This is going to be a hard one to price. Let's zoom out one more time. Yeah, you guys keep on giving me the hard ones, don't you? Let's look at actives, including pendings. Let's do 1 acre, maximum 5 acres. And this is important to understand when you're looking at what am I going to sell mine for, you're going to have to put a lot more weight on the active comps because you want to make sure yours is the cheapest property. And I'm going to zoom out again. Now I got a lot more. I'm going to sort this from high to low, and let's eliminate all the most expensive ones, okay? Let's eliminate anything over 300,000. Or sometimes you can just drag this. So you're eliminating the outliers. All right, so now I've eliminated all these outliers. I'm looking at these. Okay, so low to high. This one's way down here. That's this one, 20 grand, 33 grand. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Remember we looked here and they said the county assessed value, the land value from the county for this property was $11,845. Maybe that's true. Huh. So this is, again, a conversation you've got to have with the seller. You've got to call the seller, get them on the phone, and talk to them. Let's look at the script here because there's properties that are selling right now for $15,000 and $180,000. And if we eliminate the price, and there's properties that are selling for $950,000. Like, what's going on? There's a huge range here. $950,000 on the high end, $15,000 on the low end. Similar size. A lot depends on how close you are to the city, how more rural it is. A lot depends on a lot of things. So the terrain, if it's flat, it's super hilly, what the road access is like. Is it in an area that has real tight short-term rental restrictions, or is it more open? And so this is when you're talking to the seller, you've got to talk to them about What's your situation? What's going on? Why do you want to sell this property? So I have this seller script. And if you want this script, just type in the chat or the comments, seller script. And I'll get this out to you, okay? Seller script. Oh, yes, Gregory is asking about flooding. Thank you. Let's look real quick here. I forgot to do that. Normally, you look at overlays, and you want to see, is it in a flood zone? And I don't think this is because it's too flat. But there's FEMA floodplain. I checked on that. Nothing happens. And if I go to wetlands, all right, nothing happens. So it's not in a flood zone wetlands. That's more out here. But even if there was, looks, there's still properties there. Okay. All right, the seller script right here. If you're watching me on Zoom, I'm going to put this in Zoom right now. If you're watching this on YouTube or a Facebook group, then we'll get that to you later. But type in the seller scripts there. Okay, so anyway, here's my script. I was returning your call. How can I help you? Sounds like I caught you in the middle of something. So I'm looking to buy some land. Do you mind if I ask you some questions to see if this is something I could be interested in? Well, you sent me a piece of mail. You should be interested in this, right? Well, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. So looking at this, I'm going to confirm the property. What's the acreage size? Is it cleared? Is the road, is there access? Is it paved? What are the utilities? Are the utilities on the property yet? There's not. Oh, man. How much is it going to cost to bring utilities to the property? How much is it going to cost to clear it? Right? How much is it going to cost to bring utilities? You know, to dig a well, etc. Yes, Gregory, this is the script in the Simple Land Kit. Yes, it is. Is it in a flood zone or wetland? Have you ever had a perk test done on the property? What else could you ask? How much do you think it would cost to have one done? Why am I asking these questions? I want the seller to tell me. Can you build on it? Right? What's another question? How much would it cost to level the lot and build on it? Huh. Or to cut a road. Why am I asking these questions? Because I want the seller to tell me how much they think the property's worth, how much they think it would cost to get it ready to build on it. Right, Gregory, I'm going for no. Exactly. Going for no. And like it's hard to tell. I'm looking at comps, I'm talking to the seller and I'm saying I'm seeing properties here that are selling for between $900,000 and $15,000. So I have no idea. I don't think I'm your buyer, to be honest. But let me ask you a few questions a little bit, okay? Here, what's your situation? What's going on? Why do you want to sell this property? Now, this script here is not like a word for word, question by question. It's just a way to ask questions and find out from the seller, do they need to sell it or want to sell it? Why do they want to sell this property? What's their story? What's their situation? What's going on? And when you find out how much they think it's worth, and then you ask them questions, what's the least they would take, and you say, well, okay, well, man, what's it going to cost to level the lot and build on it? What's it going to cost to cut a road on it? Is it in a flood zone or wetland? Have you done a perk test? How much does it cost in the area to get one done? How much does it cost to cut a well or to dig a well, right? Is there an HOA? Is there any restrictions about short-term rentals there? Oh, there are? Shoot. I don't think I'm your buyer. I don't know. What's the least you could take? How much would it cost to run a survey? Oh, I don't think I'm your buyer. How much would it cost? Like, what's the least you could do? Could you go any lower than that? Are the taxes current? Are you the owner? Okay, boom. Is it listed with a realtor? Well, sounds like a nice property. Why do you even want to sell it? Why don't you just list it with a realtor? I'm going for no. I'm not chasing them. I'm the reluctant buyer. I'm not being a jerk about it. I'm just being real nice and asking a lot of questions. Okay. Here are the questions to determine the motivation. And remember, you're playing the role of the reluctant buyer. You're trying to get them to give you a price first. Super important. Sounds like a nice property. Why would you even want to sell it? What's going on? What would you like to see happen to the property? When would you like to see that happen? You're not in a hurry to sell, right? When were you hoping to be able to sell it? Or you can say another way is this a now thing or a later thing for you? What's more important to you, Mr. Seller, to sell it quickly or to sell it for the highest price possible? If you want to sell it quickly, I might be able to help you, but I'm not a retail buyer. Okay, if you want the easy button, I might be able to help you. I can pay cash. I can close in 30 days. And by the way, can you close in 30 days? The answer better be yes, because if you are an Inner Circle student or you're one of my students, you're in the Inner Circle community, you have access to all the funding you need for your deals inside the community. Okay, cool. So you can tell sellers, yeah, I can close in 30 days, right? Right. Why don't you list it with an agent? They'll get you the highest price. All right. Well, what do you think the property's worth? How'd you arrive at that number? Do you think that's a fair price for this crazy market? What are you going to do if you can't sell the property for $25,000, whatever, right? If they don't give me a number, I say, I'm sorry. If you can't give me a number, I'm probably not your guy. If you like, I can give you the names of 5 realtors who can help you sell your property. Okay? If I can pay you all cash, close quickly, 30 days, and you don't have to pay any closing costs or realtor commissions, what would be the best price that you would consider? If they refuse to give you a number they just don't know, you might want to say something like, well, you know what? I'm sorry. I don't know if I can help you. Maybe when you figure it out, what you want for the property, you can call me back. Okay? I'm not chasing them, right? I'm the reluctant buyer. The harder you chase them, the faster they'll run. When they do give you a number, you say, you sound disappointed. Well, I don't know. Is that the best you can do? I'm looking at the terrain. It's kind of sloped. I'm going to have to, level. I have to cut in a road. I'm going to have to clear the property. I'm going to have to bring utilities. I'm going to have to get a perk test. I'm going to have to survey it. I just don't think, I don't know. And you shut up and you just listen. I don't know. Is that the best you can do? I don't think this is going to work. Okay. That's good, especially when you're in an area where it's hard to price. It's hard to get comps. So you just got to talk to these sellers. Okay. If they give you a price, you say, all right, well, I'm going to do some due diligence. And if I find some other properties that are cheaper, okay, how negotiable is that price? All right, I'm going to do some research. I'll call you back later today, okay? Cool. What's your best email address? Listen, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but if I can make the numbers work and you're okay with the numbers, we come together on the numbers, we agree on a price, could we put a deal together today? I want to get a yes or no commitment. Can we do a deal today? All right. That's the seller script. Very simple, but I'm just wanting to dig in and ask questions because, my goodness, I'm looking at this thing. This thing is currently for sale for $15,000. How much is that an acre? That's $9,000 an acre. So we're back to the spreadsheet. Okay, ours is 2.23 acres, right? 2.23 acres, 2.23 acres. Okay. So looking at this, looking at actives and pendings, land only, we're looking at 1 to 5 acres. I'm going to do the pebble scraper here. I'm going to bring them all down, but I'm going to remove all of the real expensive ones. And there's some here that are currently listed for like $475,000 an acre. So I'm going to delete all the most expensive ones here. Now maybe I'm looking at $23,913 an acre for actives. So based on active listings, it might be worth about $45,000. Now, based on solds, because it's a non-disclosure state, guess what happens when I click solds? I get a bunch of, I have to go back a year. So this means I need to be even more conservative, right? Because there's only a few of them. There's 12. I'm going to have to go off of last sale price. So if I click on this one, click on sale tax history, it was listed for $165. So I have this thing in here on solds right here, okay? So I'm going to do 165. Oops. Okay. And I'm just going to do 5 solds and get an average median price per acre, okay? This one was 1 acre. All right, let's look at another one. This one here was 3.5 acres. And its last list price was 45 grand. 71,000 to 20,000. Oops. This property right here was a 1 acre lot. It was listed for 35 grand. All right, the next one is this one. Last list price was 4.79 acres. 4.79 acres. And the last list price was from 2 years ago was 145. 63,000 an acre. We're just doing the best with what we've got, aren't we? This property, 1.25 acres, was last listed for 25 grand. All right, so based on these 5 solds that I looked at and the last list price, the average price per acre is 36. The median, I always go with whatever the lower of the two is. The median was 19,565. 19,565. Okay, let me put that right here. 19,565. Yep, 19,565. All right, so based on active listings, it might be worth 45 grand. I discount that 15%. Based on solds, it might be worth 43,000. So what price am I going to list it for? Let's say maybe I list it for 43,000. Let's say I list it for 39,500. 39,500. That's 17,000 an acre. You know what? I don't know. See these price per acres here for my solds that I just did? Let me remove this because it's a little confusing. What just happened there? Oh my gosh. These formulas aren't right. Equals that divided by that. What on earth? What just... Wow. I screwed up all of those formulas. How long has that been screwed up? Is this right? Oh my gosh, those formulas are wrong too. Equals that divided by that. Oh my gosh, heavens to Betsy. What are you smoking, Joe? All right, now these formulas are right. Oh my gosh. So, the median is 30,271. 30,271. So based on solds, it might be worth 45,000. Based on actives, based on actives, it might be worth 45. Based on solds, it might be worth 67. So I'm going to still go with the lower one. Let's list it right under 40,000. Do you think that would work? Could I sell mine for 40,000? You're going to have to look at these actives and how does it compare to your competition? Ours is 2.23 acres. All right, this one right here is priced for $39,900. It's about almost my size. If I listed mine for $29,500, just looking at actives, I think it would sell quick because I'm going to be the biggest right underneath that $30,000 mark. So I'm going to list mine for $29,950. $29,950. It's $13,000 an acre. If I scroll over here, cheap. I'm right here at the about $13,000 an acre from this one. All right, so I'm going to list it for $29,950. I'm putting myself in the mind of the buyer. If I'm looking at property in this area, I'm looking at price per acre, and I'm going to see, holy cow, I think that might be a good property. This one is currently $9,000 an acre. Maybe I need to be at $9,000 an acre, huh? This one's at $9,000 an acre. Oh, but it's got some power lines in there. Maybe. This one right here, $18,000 an acre. This one, $23,000 an acre. This one, $30,000 an acre. This one, $19,000 an acre. Let's just go for it. I'm going to list mine for $29,950. I want to make at least a $10,000 wholesale fee. I'm going to pay a realtor. Let's pay a realtor 10%. I want to be generous with my commissions because I want to make sure I can get a realtor that's going to work hard to sell my property because they're used to getting 6% commissions. I'm going to have a let's pay a private investor $2,000. I want to have an oops factor of $1,500. Okay. So there, I'm going to offer $10,000, $11,000. That's going to be my max price. $11,000 will be my max offer on that property. But again, I'm going to ask the seller to give me their lowest price. I might be able to get them down to $5,000. And I might say, oh boy, $5,000, I don't know. Listen, if I gave you a contract today for $5,000, would you sign it? I don't know if I can make this work, but would you? If they're at like $20,000, the lowest they could go, I could just say, again, I'm probably not your buyer. I don't think it's going to work. I'm looking here I'm going through my questions, how flat is the terrain? If I'm going to build on, I'm going to have to cut in a road. How much is that going to cost? I wonder. Have you had a perk test done on it yet? Is there any HOA restrictions? Am I allowed to put an RV on there? No? Oh. I don't know. What's the lowest you can go? I'm just going through the questions, right? As I'm talking to them, I'm looking at this. I see on the satellite view here, looks like there's a crane there, an abandoned crane, or what's that thing right there? Do you know? Okay. I'm looking at active listings here. There's a bunch of properties that aren't selling that have been on the market for a long time. Do you know what's going on? Looks like there's some power lines that are cutting through the property. Is that right? And how do I know they're power lines? You see how it's cut through right here? Oh, there's power lines on the property. Oh man. I don't think it's going to work. There's power lines going this way and that way. Is that right? North and south, east and west? I don't know. What's the best you can do? Okay. You get what I'm saying. You smelling what I'm stepping in? Just asking lots of questions, trying to get them to give me their lowest rock bottom price. And maybe I'll do the deal. Maybe. There's a lot of power lines going through here. Okay, cool. I would offer for this property max $10,000. Okay, so Dave, you thought you could sell the property for $200 and you were going to offer $100. Um, we're way off our numbers. Oh, and they countered. So you sent them an offer. It looks like here you sent them an offer for, I'm not going to show you this to you guys, but Dave sent an offer for $61,000 and the seller countered with $100,000. No way. Mm-mm. I would call that agent up and say, really? Why would I want to pay $100,000 for your property when I can buy this one? Like a 5-minute drive. I don't know how long that would take to get there. When I can buy this one for $39,500 right now. That's already cleared. It's almost the same size. So they're wanting, if you take 100,000, they want 100,000 divided by 2.23. So they want $44,000 an acre, right? They want $44,000 an acre. All you need to do when you got them on the phone is talk to them. $44,000 an acre. Okay, I'm looking at this one, and they want $9,000 an acre. Okay, and I'm looking at this one, and they want $18,000 an acre. And I'm looking at this one. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. You're sure your property's real nice. This one, they want $24,000 an acre. And okay, by the way, you can do this really quickly here. Just click on that Pebble Scraper tool. And you got the numbers right here. So they want $9,000 per acre on this one, $19,000 per acre on that one, $9,000 an acre on this one. Like this property right here, right now, it's 4.48 acres. And they're asking $40,000 for it. It's twice as big as yours. And they want $40,000 for it. They want $8,900 an acre and you want $45,000 an acre. I'm sure your property's real nice, but where's the disconnect here? What am I missing? Well, they're not a motivated seller, maybe, Greg, but you know what? Maybe they really just don't know what it's worth. They just don't know what it's worth. And sometimes sellers just need time to cook. But this is, you got to ask them. You got to talk to them. It's like, what? Maybe it's worth more because it's closer to the city. Maybe because it's closer to, a grocery store than this property is. But I'm not buying it. And I'm not willing to take that risk. Are you? This one looks like a great property. They're asking $23,000 an acre. I'm not willing to take that risk. So, bottom line, I think I want to just emphasize this and we'll wrap this call up. Get on the phone and talk to these guys before you send them an offer or even after you do. So they sent this offer. It looks like it's a realtor or a broker that sent you the response. They sent this response a couple of days ago. Get on the phone and talk to them and ask them, why is this property, why do you think it's worth so much? Maybe I'm missing something. Do you think $100,000 is fair when I can buy this other one for, 25% of that price? Help me out here. Here's one. They're asking $13,000 an acre. So like you could give them 12 examples of properties that are a third of that price. And this one already has utilities on there. This already has an electric box. So what do? I'd still send them an offer. And, this is the other thing too. Sometimes you get it wrong, right? You send a seller an offer. Oh, you weren't seeing what I was looking at, but I was just looking at more examples here. But sometimes, you send them an offer and you realize later that it was a bad offer. That's okay. That's all right. You go back to the seller and just ask them, can you clarify some things for me? I'm looking here. I'm doing some more due diligence and research on this thing. I see there's a property right now that just went under contract for $60,000. It's 3.2 acres. It's bigger than yours. And they we're asking 18,000 an acre. So I think I made a mistake. I apologize, but I'm going to have to cancel the agreement. I'm looking at these other similar properties are selling for way less. Can you do any better? And you just ask the questions and you walk away. Okay. So let's wrap that up. I know some of you are typing in the comments that you want these the spreadsheets and the scripts that I gave you. Let me give you real quick I have a Simple Land Kit. Can you see that? Okay. If you go to simplelandkit.com, you can get these, the script and the spreadsheet right there. Simplelandkit.com. You get all of that for free. All right, let's wrap this up, guys. I appreciate you all. We'll see you. Take care. Bye-bye.